Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
This is a one-speaker meeting. Please welcome our speaker tonight, Scott.
Scott, alcoholic. You guys rock. Woo, let's just turn some music on and start dancing. That's what I'm talking about. You been to a sober dance? Unbelievable. Seriously. I was in treatment. They told me I had to change everything. I said, but I like dancing at nightclubs. They said, you got to change that. I said, I'm going to open one. And I did. And I had sober dances every Sunday. Sober, what do we call it? Sober Sunday dance, serenity, some kind of thing. I did karaoke too. I did Elvis pretty good. Love me tender, love me sweet. Anyway. I do the claw. And I woke up today and I thought to myself, life is difficult. It is. I hate it at times. But I think that once you learn that it's difficult, it gets a little easier. That's the first thing they said in The Road Less Traveled, Scott. Life is difficult. And I'm like, damn, I hate that. No wonder I drank and used so much, you know? I grew up outside of Chicago in an organized crime neighborhood. Those were our heroes, you know, Al Capone and those guys. And, you know, so I got into organized crime. My parents got divorced, and I wanted to piss them off. I was like 13 and in a lot of pain over all that, and didn't want to deal with pain and didn't want to deal with life and just wanted instant gratification, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's what I wanted. And I wanted it all the time, you know. And that was the only thing that could afford me was to sell the stuff, to afford the time and everything to do it. So marijuana was new and on this market, and I was afraid to kiss girls. And I remember on Christmas they used to serve wine and stuff, and that gave me the courage in a bottle, you know. I had the guts to kiss a girl. I like that stuff. Boone's Farm, every Saturday Night Live. Just came on TV, just a new show, and every Saturday my friend's brother would go buy us Boone's Farm. We drink 2 bottles or so, but anyway, that gave me a lot of relief, that stuff, you know. And I don't know. I ended up quitting school, high school. My parents were busy dealing with their bullshit, and I was like, self-will run riot. If you're not going to pay attention to me, I'm not going to school. You know, so I didn't. Got engaged. Was going to get married. She told me that I had to get engaged to her to have sex with her, so I did. We were both virgins. That was fun. We used to go to the Addison Motel. It was a 4-hour rate, and it had all these like water beds and 70s style stuff, you know, velvet mirrors on the ceiling and stuff. I used to love that place. But then, I don't know, Sex Pistols came on the scene, Black Sabbath, and I was like finished with my woman. You know what I'm talking about? I wanted to be on my own, just doing my thing. So we broke up, and I moved to downtown Chicago because the bar stayed open till 5 in the morning, and I loved that. And the people that I hung out with looked a lot like some of you. And, you know, that was my crew, you know. If you look like that, you were part of this, like, gang there, punk rock gang and all. And we all hung out, closed the bars at 5. We ran the bars. We weren't even old enough to be in them, and we managed them and stuff. And we'd lock the front door at like 4 or 5 and then keep it open till, you know, the daylight was up. And I just remember walking home every night, looking at myself in the reflection of the windows. Okay. Well, I was looking at myself in a reflection of a window. And I had like combat gear on, you know what I mean? And I smelled like booze and sex. And everybody was going to work. And I was kind of like Dracula, you know? And it was like, I got to get home to my coffin, you know? And I wake up about 4 or 5 for happy hour and do it all over again. And that was my life. I traveled a lot. I was very successful in the organized crime business. And, you know, I was promoting it a lot and had my people. And by the time I was 19, had a little organization where I just had 5 people that I took care of, and they took care of me, and I could do whatever I want the rest of the couple months and just fly into town. I had a place, and I figured San Francisco was the place to go. There was a lot of hippies and punks and Haight and Ashbury, and they liked drugs there. You know, it was like health food restaurants and drugs. They go together. I don't know what it is. You know, so I was going to the health food places trying to get healthy, and doing a lot of drugs and stuff. But, you know, when you do a lot of drugs and got a lot of time, I found myself on my knees praying to God, please bring me down. I'll never do it again. You know, certain drugs and alcohol. It was always the alcohol. And anyway, I hated Coke, but I'd end up doing it. I'd be like, I hate this. We gotta stop this, you know? And then you get that horrible feeling come over you, and you'd be like, give me some more. Anyway, you all know what I'm talking about. I see that. So the third time in a month when I'm on my knees praying to God, please bring me down. I know I said I'll never do it again, but I swear this time I won't, you know? Please let me live. And I was toxic shock, throwing up. I went to this ranch. I thought that being at a ranch with horses would make me feel better, you know? Walking with the horses in them, good horsey, you know what I mean? Jesus Christ, I need to come down. And, you know, I was in the bedroom, and I had like this like out of body, seemed like floating, like dying kind of thing. And it was like a moment of clarity. And I thought, man, my life actually kind of sucks. You know, I feel pretty spiritually empty. I'm going to die right now. And I pictured my mom crying and me just feeling spiritually dead because the stuff that I'm promoting, the drugs and alcohol, are killing me now. You know, I'm like, was such an advocate with High Times and all this promoting. I started half my high school on this shit. And and now this stuff's killing me, and I just felt so spiritually empty, and I didn't want to die feeling that way. And it really freaked the hell out of me, to be honest with you. And I felt like I was talking to God. I remember, you know, going back to my brother and saying, I was talking to God. Or, you know, we got to quit all this, you know. And my friend, he's like, read this book. I don't want to read that book. I'm telling ya. I got to change. We got to change. So my thing was pointing the finger at everybody else. I wanted you all to change before me. I got the answers. I can do it moderation, but you got a problem, you know. So I thought that was my role in life, to save the world then. That's a hard job, let me tell you. You ever try to save the world? That's a bitch. Man, that Jesus Christ, he had a hard job. Damn, and then all I could think about was hanging on that cross or some kind of shit. That catch up to me or whatever, and I'm in prison forever. I hate being in prison. But every time I got out, I thought, my will got me out, you know. I didn't think about what got me in there. So I went and told my parents that I was savior of the world and Satan's now after everybody, including them. He's trying to kill me and then them because they know, and, you know. They thought I was going to kill him. My mom and brother got out of the car and were going to make a run for it. And so I went to my dad's and told him, and he called the minister, and about 2 in the morning the minister came over and said, and I started explaining to him why I thought that I was a savior and why the devil was going to get me. And I said, I had all this money in the safety deposit box, and there was a Rottweiler there, and that's where they keep the devil, in the bank over there. He said, okay, why don't you go tell these other people this story? I said, okay, but I'm telling you the truth, you know? And so I went into like a lockdown psych ward about 4 in the morning. And I said, fine, I'll go. I'll prove to you I know what I'm talking about here. And they were like 18-year-old kid. We called him Cosmo. He was like doing a Thorazine shuffle about 4 in the morning when I arrived, you know, just down the hallway like, And it was a scary place. What can I say? I got up in the morning, was afraid to eat the food. But I saw a kid my age. I was 24 years old. And I said, so why are you in here? He said, my doctor told me I can't talk about it. I'm like, okay, cool. So then I saw another guy who I was sure was my mom's psychiatrist that they planted in there. And I asked him, so why are you in here? My doctor told me I can't talk about it. I'm like, okay, I'm out of this joint. So I go to the door, it's locked. I go to every door, they're all locked. I go to the window, they won't open more than 2 inches. I was pissed. I'm like, the devil got me right where he wanted me. So I called my ma. I said, Ma, there was a payphone. I called her. I said, Ma, I'm in one motherfucking flew over the cuckoo's nest. If you don't get me out of here, I'm going to have you murdered. Yeah, she was crying. She didn't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm telling you what to do. Get me out of this joint. So at that time, I saw one of the maids going through the locked door, and I ran through it and handed them a couple thousand, told me get me out of here. And they said, no. Well, tell me where to run then. They pointed up the stairs, so this chase was on. And, you know, I didn't know which way to run down them hallways. They all looked the same. Anyway, we were negotiating. Me, a counselor, and Cosmo. Cosmo and the counselor were down at the bottom of the stairs, and I said, I'm here to help you. They were like, come on down, man. I'm like, so I knew they had me, and I knew that if I kept running, they said, you know, they put the straitjacket on me and all that, and that, I didn't really want that, you know. So I went down, and I was on unit supervision and all this bullshit, and I realized that the devil had me, and I better start playing it cool here, you know. So a couple days went by, the counselor told me, he said to me, he goes, I'm reading your report here. You moved to San Francisco and quit drinking for 6 months. Why'd you start up again? I go, I didn't know anybody there, and it just felt more comfortable to be out drinking. You know, I could socialize better. And he's like, oh, that's not a reason. I said, listen, I do this shit recreationally. And I never drink in the morning and blah, blah, blah. I go home about 7 in the morning drunk. But anyway, so I kind of felt like I put my foot in my mouth then. And he pissed me off for that because it was like a reason to drink, to socialize and get rid of that fear that I had around people. And but I still wasn't going to admit it. And they kept telling me, well, we got beds up at up in the drug rehab. You know, we're just waiting for a bed to open up, actually. That's what they said. We're just waiting for a bed to open up. And I said, yeah, keep waiting. You know, I got a hard job to do, save the world, get out there and do all that. And anyway, 3 days later, I was talking to this anorexic girl. She was about 85 pounds. Looked like she was going to die. And I said, so why are you in here? She said, well, my dad died, my brother was sick and this. And she said, I realized that I'm running around trying to take care of everybody else and worrying about the world and not taking care of myself. Well, that was very obvious to me that she was not taking care of herself because she was so skinny. She looked like she was going to die any minute. And it was like, holy shit, it just clicked with me. I'm powerless over people, places, and things. And the only power I have is over me. They kept telling me that. You know, that's the only thing. And I went up to the nurse and I admitted, you know, I go, listen, I'm a drug addict and alcoholic. Put me up on the drug ward. They put me up there right away, and there was plenty of beds available. They were just waiting for me to admit it. And I got thrown in these rooms. I had actually been to AA 2 years before that, but then they gave me like a newcomer's packet. I went to the Mustard Seed in Chicago, downtown Chicago. I actually lived on the next block over. I used to walk by it, and some of my friends used to hang out there. They were in AA. But they gave me the newcomer packet, and I remember walking to the beach with it, looking at them like, what's this God stuff and these step stuff? Whoa, you know? I just want to quit drinking. I don't even want to quit getting high. And I threw the pamphlet in the garbage and went through a couple more meetings and quit drinking for about 6 months. Ended up in Tijuana, relapsed in Tijuana. My friend said, you go to Tijuana, you got to drink. I said, okay. It's no fun walking around Tijuana naked, let me tell you, lost. Oh, and then it wouldn't stop. I was right on that roller coaster again, you know. I woke up the next morning, I'll never do that again. Oh, one Heine. What's a Heineken gonna do? You know? So I'm pretty freaking powerless with all that stuff. But I ended up back in these rooms in treatment. I started hearing stories like mine. Not too many, but there were a couple other saviors there that made me feel comfortable, you know? Oh, yeah, I was Christ a couple times already. I'm like, really? Wow, that's a relief. So, but it gave me hope, you know, because I really thought I was unique. Not only did I have to, you know, change my lifestyle, quit using, drinking and all that, I had to change my career. You know, organized crime's not a really good career, you know? It's also jails, institution, and death, you know? So that was very hard for me to think about sitting in there. I guess I felt kind of safe there at the time, but, you know, my associates weren't very happy with it. They were a little worried. And, but I was ready to go to any length. I was ready to do anything. I told my counselor, I got a load of money in the safety deposit box, and you can have it if you want. Because I thought the money was causing me problems, all this stuff. I'm like, dude, you want it? He goes, let me think about it. So I'm kind of glad he didn't take the money. I needed it. I quit high school. I thought, what am I going to do, work at McDonald's? So anyway, but I was ready to go to any length, and I remember being in meetings, and they had like a meditation group, and I just remember being so full of anxiety that I just prayed to God that He would kill me in my sleep. I'm like, God, I'm a changed man. Just take me now. I can't face the outside world. I can't face what I have to face. You know, and one speaker came in. He was a priest, and he said, you know, God listens to those that pray really, really hard. I'm like, man, I got to pray really hard. And I was ready, man. I just felt it, though, too, you know. I was ready to die, but at the same time, I was too afraid to die. But I just had to pray to face what I had to face. And I sold my business from a picnic bench at the treatment center. They finally let me off unit supervision after 30 days, where I could go to the cafeteria where everybody else ate. I thought it was kind of cool that they had to bring me my meal. But the minute they let me go down there, I bolted. I went through these locked doors, and there was this metal fence going around the joint. And I'm like, God, I don't know what to do. I don't want a lobotomy. There's a person in there with one. You know, I just don't want to, you know, I'm afraid. I want to go. All of a sudden, it was like these clouds and thunder in the Midwest you get, and all of a sudden this lightning hit the metal fence, and it just started pouring. And I ran for cover, not even thinking. I just ran back under the awning of the place. And right then I thought, shit, I'm back at the place. You know, and I was like, okay, I guess I should go back in. And I did, and just started to try. I found a guy, a counselor, that I really kind of thought was a good dude. He didn't take my money, so I kind of liked him. I trusted him. I didn't trust humans, though, to be honest with you. I didn't trust myself. How can I trust other people, you know? God could and would if He were salt, but no human power, you know? So I had to find that kind of God. That's what I needed, you know? I could have never got to this point without the stuff that I went through, but I was at that point then where I was like, I got to find a supernatural God to protect me, because it just seemed so frightening in the world that the hole I dug, the world I got myself into just didn't seem that easy to get out, and I was like scared to death, and I didn't know what to do. I looked at myself in the mirror and I just started crying, like, look what you did to yourself, you know? You dug yourself in this big hole, you know? You got this ego and this lifestyle that's not going to be easy to get out of. I didn't know what to do. And, I was scared. So I just basically did really enjoy the fellowship of the program, though, and just started to hang with people in the meetings. And eventually they let me out of that place. And I remember leaving, putting my seatbelt on for the first time, and just, living next to the mustard seed in Chicago, and one of my best friends was sober, and that was really cool. And he was like a punk rock who stayed out all night with us too, and he'd been sober for 4 years. And I wanted what he had. I wanted what he had when I was using. You know, he was always had the energy. We went to Jamaica together for Reggae Sunsplash one year, and I tried getting him high the whole time. I even filled the room up with all this dope smoke and hash oil. And he's like, I'm going to a meeting. I'm like, get over here, smoke some of this. And he's like, no, I got to go to the meeting. And he'd outrun me on the beach and shit, pissed me off. And I tried everything to look, better than him. And then he'd go to this meeting. We'd be walking down, Montego Bay, and he'd be like, hey, what's up? Hey. I'm like, how do you know all these people? He's like, oh, at the meeting. And it was like, wow. So I kind of wanted what he had, And it was cool to be able to have that connection then, and to be able to, go out on my block and go to meetings and stuff. So at the same time, all I really knew at the time was music and clubs and stuff. So like I said, I opened a nightclub, and I was going to make it like a sober club, but there were so many juice bars and stuff in Chicago opening up that were like ecstasy clubs, that the city of Chicago wasn't letting any more juice bars open. So they're like, you got to get a liquor license if you want to open something. And I did, and I opened a club with different rooms, and we'd have like 6 bands a night in 2 of the rooms. And then they asked me to, I would throw all these parties all the time. And at the Limelight, they asked me to sing, and for this like celebrity thing. The Chicago Bears had just won the Super Bowl. It was 1986, and a bunch of the Bears were singing. They asked me to sing because I was like sober guy who threw the biggest parties in town. And I'm like, I never sang before. And they're like, well, come on down, do a song, And so they're like, pick a song. I'm like, I'm not singing. I'm not picking a song, And so they're like, they picked James Brown's Sex Machine for me, I'm like, I don't even like James Brown that much, but let's see what we can do. So I spent like 3 nights trying to learn it. I couldn't even sleep. I was so scared, I told nobody about it, but then I show up there and it's like place is packed, a couple thousand people. And I'm like, I'm going to write the words down on paper and just bring them up on stage, So I wrote them down on paper in red marker, and it just landed like right on my 2-year anniversary in 1986. And I was like, okay, so they're like calling my name. They're like, all right. I opened the piece of paper up on stage, and a red light's blaring on it, and it's blank. I'm like, okay, God, your turn. And it was the weirdest thing. The words just started coming to me and stuff, and I'm like, get up, get on the scene. You know what I mean? All these chicks are down there. I'm like, this is the best time I ever had in my life, Because I'd always been a dancer. And so I got off stage. All these girls who wouldn't talk to me before were, Scotty, what are you doing afterwards? I'm like, nothing. What are you doing? So I was like, that's the best high I ever had. The one thing I really missed was selling drugs and stuff, and the high I got when I was copping a deal, going some exotic land or whatever. I really missed that shit, Making a big deal. I love that shit. I don't know what plotting. I love plotting, you know what I mean? And making deals and doing things illegal. I just love it. You guys know what it's like. People got money and they go to MacArthur fucking Park. You know what I mean? The cop. It's crazy. But we like those kind of things, you know? We like danger, we like excitement. And that was like something that really replaced it for me, you know? And so I took that band and started my own band, you know, the Downtown Scotty Brown Band, and started playing all over town and just really had a gas for 10 years. And then I ended up coming out here and got married, met a beautiful person, and it was like a really godsend kind of thing. And we ended up out here, and then I ended up working with a rock band, a big rock band going on the road, and I was like, oh shit. And the guy's name was Scott, and that's, you know, my name, and it'd be like he'd be getting high the whole time practically, and I'd be sitting across from him on a plane. We had our own jet, and we'd be sitting, I'd be like, I'm looking at myself, I felt like, hi. I'm like, God help me. Breathe in faith, breathe out fear, because I'm stuck in this fucking thing. I hated limos and shit more than anything, let me tell you. Because it's like I'm stuck in this freaking thing, contraptions with this person getting high who's just like me, and I got to make more amends. Because it was really kind of hard to deal with all that stuff. But at the same time, I was like very grateful that God had given me and shown me amazing things, and I would go to meetings all over the country, wherever I'd go, you know, I'd just call up and people would come pick me up at the hotel or whatever. And it was just, it's beautiful, man. I started going to Al-Anon too because of all that. And, you know, and I just really got a sponsor and had to listen to people, you know, because my will, I'm self-will run riot, you know. I just want to do what I want to do whenever I want. And that causes me pain, and I don't want to be in pain, you know. And so it was like, we did like 3 tours, and it was hard. And my wife, she said, you know, if you go on tour again, I'm going to leave. And I'm like, I got to go. It's my job. And I was probably pushing her out of my life because of all the girls on tour, I guess. Could that be it? Maybe. So, you know, I mean, it was tough. You know, we're in this atmosphere, and it was like 10,000 people a night, and I'm the trim coordinator. You know, I picked the job. You know, 40 backstage passes. I'm going to pass them all out. I'm going to try to live on the edge as much as possible here. You know what I mean? And that's hard to do, but. You know, so I went through that, and then one of my best friends on tour that I got sober with, he had like 10 years. He called me, he's like, put me on the guest list when you come to Chicago. I'm like, all right, and I get a call the next day, and he overdosed on heroin. They threw him out a window into the alley in Chicago, and it was just like, wow, that was really hard for me to go through that, you know. And then watching the guy I'm working with killing himself, I cried to him, you know. It was one of the first, I don't like to cry much, you know, but it was like, you know, people you care about, you want to see them succeed, and a lot of them die, you know, and then people just die in life. We are going to die, so that's hard. You know, like I said, life is difficult. There's a lot of things about life that I don't like, you know, and I don't like to deal with. I mean, I've met a great woman. She had 30 days. I had to get her quick, you know. I told my sponsor. It made me think about these girls with 30 days over here. You got to get them quick. I call my sponsor. I'm like, she's got 30 days. He's like, you better get with her. She might use. She's awesome, too. We've been together 5 years. She had a couple kids. They came with it. That's some hard stuff, man, raising kids and all. And, you know, so it's been really kind of good. And it's getting better all the time, you know, but I got to get out of my own way, you know. I got stinking thinking comes up all the time. And we live in Malibu now. I got tired of doing the entertainment, traveling thing. And so we both got into real estate, and we moved to Malibu because I thought it was the nicest place along the coast to start. And we just had a great time, and they started like a reality show around us. And at first I was like, oh, I'd be laying on the couch, you know, doing nothing and watching TV like, look at all my friends on TV. Where's mine? And next thing I know, I get the call. We want to cast you for this show. And I'm like, no. But I showed up and I did it, and I was like real apprehensive about it. And we ended up doing it. It was actually a lot of fun. And, you know, we've had really fun time with things, and we live in a beautiful place. At the same time, I miss people in the city, and I need to be around people a lot. I live overlooking the ocean, but I'm like, okay, you can only look at the ocean so much. I need people. I need restaurants that are open late. That's just the way I am. I'm downtown Scotty Brown, stuck in frickin' Malibu. Maybe that's why they like me for the show. I'll be like, look at this shit. Big mansion. I want a city. Anyway, no, it's cool. But so like the show was going to come out June 12th, and I've been doing all this work and like freaking out about it. And it's been like really stressful, certain aspects of it, And so then this morning I got up. I was supposed to work with somebody, a reporter or something. I got up and I prayed, and I was like reading the prayer, and I'm like, God, help me, you got to help me, I know. I don't want pain, though. I don't like too much pain, even though it's this spiritual touchstone of growth. I'd rather do without it, And so anyway, I got a call then, like they're postponing the show till the end of the summer, and I'm like, oh shit, now it's being canceled and I'm no good. Just all this crazy stuff comes in my head, And it's like so nuts, all the stuff that my head thinks of, And I just want to be, I don't know. I want to be serene and happy and have those good times, Because at times I'll just find myself going with the flow, showing up, doing the next right thing, listening to my sponsor. It's not what I want to do, I take contrary action. Because then there are those amazing times that come. They're not when I want them to come. They're not, I like instant gratification, And they come, though. They come. And when they come, it's a total spiritual awakening, and they're amazing. And that's what I wait for those times, that we're doing the work. I coach kids basketball now, 10-year-olds. I coach baseball. I'm doing all this crazy shit that I'm like, why am I doing this, But there's times that it's really fun and rewarding. And I guess, I have to live a spiritual way of life. It's just what I got to do. And I've been working on like a fourth and fifth step, and that's been really hard for me lately. I mean, more will be revealed, It's been almost 22 years, and I'm looking at all this stuff and my behavior with stuff, and, and it's like, wow, it's really kind of a lot of stuff to look at and talk to another person about, and then trust that person about it, And that's been quite a journey, though, but I'm glad I'm kind of getting it out there. And, I'm grateful for this program. I didn't want to come here today. Are you kidding me? I really didn't. I don't want to do anything. I have like anxiety disorder, I get like anxiety attacks doing anything. If I have to show up and meet somebody, I have anxiety, Unless it's like at a nightclub looking for girls, and that's what I freaking did all the time. It seemed like made a living on it, but now I can't do that anymore, And it's like, okay, now what's with life? You know what I mean? Well, I gotta, delay the gratification and just show up and get the, the special, more rewarding, deeper stuff in life. And that's what I'm working on right now. And I got some really wonderful, great friends because of this program. I can go anywhere in the world and get hooked up with people, and I really enjoy that a lot, And I just have a fabulous family and fabulous life. And it's a result of you people, and I'm feeling, I feel much better than I did before the meeting, just being up here, And I'm very grateful for Dave for asking me to come and speak. And, so grab somebody that you want what they have, and you'll be amazed before you're halfway through. Listen to them, and take contrary action. Life is hard, but this is the easier, softer way. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it, and my reaction is just, I want to totally not feel, so I'm going to drink and use, or whatever I'm going to do. But when you build character, when you go through life on life's terms, and find a higher power, Trust God, clean house, help others. I grew up with a Catholic God and a punishing God for me, And I found a loving, caring God here. that really wants what's best for me. Sometimes I'll go through painful situations. It won't seem like the right thing, but then I'll see down the road why it had to happen that way. So it's just great to see familiar faces here and everybody. And, you know, I really would love to see all you people get it, you know. It's hard to get. You got to really want it. It's not for people that need it. It's for people that want it. You have to have a huge desire more than anything else. And I felt that way when I was locked up in treatment. I wanted it. I just felt it. I don't know what it was. I had one of those spiritual experiences that was pretty sudden and pretty strong. But there's also ways of getting it, they say, by just showing up here, and then it comes to you, you know. I feel like I needed that sudden spiritual experience, you know. And the guys in, you know, organized crime, they didn't kill me. I'm here. I told them everything was recorded and my family has it and everything happens. And they came to my house once, a couple of them, and I had all these people from the program over watching a movie at my house, and one of them was another guy in the biz, and he was newly sober, and they were shocked by all these people that I knew that were hanging with me at my house, and they were like, whoa, you know. And I just remember sometimes being so full of fear that I didn't want to have to live, and I just would leave these meetings with people surrounding me and just felt so comfortable, you know. And there are no coincidences, you know. I have such miracles when I get out of the way. If God seems far away, think who's moved. And if you're having a hard time with God, think about the hard time he's having with you. You know? I thought I was going to get killed, and when you're in that business, your lawyer's like your higher power. So I thought, I knew who the head lawyer was, so I thought, I'm going to go give him Cubs tickets. Cubs were in the playoffs, pretty rare. 1984, I guess, and I brought him the tickets, front row. I had a little connection there at Wrigley Field. And he was like, dude, I love the Cubs. These are the best tickets in town. Why are you giving me these? Personally, I thought he was Satan. I wanted to get him on my, you know, tell the other guys not to kill me. And I'm like, well, you know, you helped me launder money and that's it, goodbye. He's like, wait, you don't understand. This is awesome. Come in my office. So I went in his office. I'm sitting there talking to him, a little freaked out because I'd only met him once before. And he said, well, you know, what's going on? He kept asking me that. And I go, well, to be honest with you, I just got out of treatment. He said, really? He goes, you know that AA and all that? And I go, yeah, I do. You heard of that NA and AA? And he goes, yeah. He pulls out the big book from his desk. He's like, I got out 9 months ago. I go, will you be my sponsor? Because I sold my business and I had to get back in at another level, okay? That's where my sick head goes, all right? But it was a miracle that he was sober, and I almost got the both of us killed once by trying to get back in the stupid business again. I thought it was God's will, but thank God, God didn't want that. He put me in a lot of fear and a lot of, I had to reach out to that, that no human power thing. I had to get on my knees and pray hard, and I called my sponsor. I said, I'm afraid I think these guys are going to kill me. He goes, you asshole, I think they're going to kill me too, and they think everything you told them, they think I told you, and, don't ever call me again. So it's kind of a bummer when your sponsor says that to you. There's that no human power thing comes into play. So I hope you can find that, because it's there, having that conscious contact. Thank you very much.